Why hello, it's me again, Moxie, here for another reaction video. Now the video I'm about to react to is by none other than a Planet Dolan. Now the video I'm about to react to is called 10 Craziest Unsolved Crimes Ever. So let's have fun and get this party started. Besides that, without further ado, let's go.
Planet Dolan.
In real life, sometimes the bad guys win. Crimes are usually pretty difficult to solve, and sometimes they're just too well planned and don't leave enough evidence behind. Other times they leave a ton of evidence, but they hire a great legal team. Either way, here are 10 of the most high-profile unsolved crimes in history.
Yeah, what's up, YouTube fans? Sprinkle the one in the building. How we doing today? And today, guys, I got some crazy new content for your face. So here we go.
Number 10.
In the 1960s, a man known as the Zodiac Killer terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area. He killed at least 5 victims, and probably more. He seemed to go after couples who were together in places like public parks or the type.
You know, even I know about the Zodiac Killer, and I have to say, I'm honestly impressed. Whoever this guy was, he was excellent at covering his tracks. I mean, this is one of the biggest unsolved crimes in history. Some people actually question if they caught the actual guy or not. It's kind of weird. I mean, I once watched a documentary on History Channel about it. But besides that, just saying, it's impressive how he could just disappear. But besides that, I mean, it's impressive in a very messed up, creepy sort of way. But besides that, let's get back to the video.
For places where couples park their cars to be alone for a while. But what made the Zodiac unique is that he seemed to dare the authorities to catch him. He sent in encrypted messages, letters, codes, and even a scrap of a bloodied shirt from one of his victims to prove his identity. He sent these things both to the police and to the local newspaper, toying with them. Nobody ever cracked the code, or perhaps there was never a code at all. The Zodiac Killer was never found and may still be alive today.
Number 9.
If this case doesn't jump out you as something you know about, it's probably because you know it as the O.J. Simpson's murders. See, the legal system can be funny sometimes. In this famous trial from the 1990s, O.J. Simpson faced double murder charges and a mountain of evidence pointing to him as the culprit. But a legendary legal defense team was able to get him a not guilty verdict, despite a total lack of any other possible suspects. And so, with the acquittal of the only known suspect, this case is technically still open and unsolved. Never mind the fact that Simpson himself actually published a book detailing exactly how he did it, under the guise of it being a theoretical, of course. Nope, the case is definitely unsolved. We will never know.
Unsolved my crap if you wrote a book about it. Shouldn't that be enough evidence right there? I mean, you can call, well, I'm not even touching this subject. Let's just keep going.
Who the true culprit was. Man, that guy is actually a bastard for getting away, and he wrote a book on it. Man, that is savage and evil at the same time.
Number 8.
In March of 1990, a heist movie plot played out at Boston's Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Reportedly, 2 men dressed up as police officers, allowing them to approach the museum's night guards and get the drop on them. By the next morning, the guards were found tied up, and 13 high-profile pieces of art were missing from the museum. Authorities do think they identified the man who pulled off the heist, but the art pieces themselves have never been recovered.
Number 7.
One of Australia's most famous cold cases revolves around the disappearance of 3 young children, Jane, Grant, and Arna Beaumont. In 1966, the 3 of them hopped on a bus for a 5-minute ride to the beach, and they simply never returned home. Eyewitness reports say they made it to the beach, but reports also say they were seen playing with an unidentified man, and went to buy snacks with money they shouldn't have. But the man was never identified, the kids were never seen again, and there are no reports of them leaving together. They just disappeared.
Number 6.
I'm not going to say what I assumed happened to them because reasons. I'm just saying. But poor kids. It shows how easily you can get abducted, and just saying. But let's keep going.
In the 1930s, Cleveland was home to a serial killer known for dismembering his victims and dumping them in a poor neighborhood known as Kingsbury Run. This led to his alternate name, the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run. The butcher had a dozen confirmed victims and possibly as many as 20, both male and female. Many of them were too badly mutilated to be identified. The bodies were found to have been dismembered and decapitated while still alive, and the culprit was never discovered. Elliot Ness, one of the
You know, you have to be one evil SOB to dismember someone while they're alive. Ooh, I can only imagine the horrendous, mind-boggling pain those people went through. Ooh. I'm just saying.
Untouchables, who would later be responsible for bringing down gangster Al Capone, was working in Cleveland at the time, and even he was unable to even get a...
Wait a sec, I always wondered, how did Elliot Ness go from detective to actor? That's something I always wondered. Or was he an actor beforehand? Just curious.
lead on this case.
Number 5.
Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G. were central figures of the rap scene in the 1990s. They started out as friends, but eventually became bitter rivals, and then they were both murdered within 6 months of each other. Neither case was ever solved. In fact, theories on what happened are everywhere, from theories that the two planned each other's murders to theories that the LAPD and FBI were responsible. Two theories that record producers Suge Knight and Sean Diddy Combs orchestrated one or both of the murders. Of course, there are also theories that the two of them are still alive, and of course, all of those rumors are pretty much lacking in any evidence. That, and they always seem to have a new mixtape on every type of Crenshaw Avenue or Martin Luther King Boulevard you've ever seen before.
Number 4.
Hollywood's most mysterious murder case has stayed a mystery for decades. The Black Dahlia murder is just a single murder, not a serial murder, but it's a bizarre one. The body of a young actress, Elizabeth Short, was found cut in half at the waist and completely drained of blood, just a few feet from a neighborhood sidewalk.
What killed her, a vampire?
The ensuing investigation of the grisly, bizarre murder produced 150 suspects, but 0 arrests, and the case remains unsolved to this day.
Number 3.
The New Orleans Axeman was a serial killer active from 1918 to 1919, known for going after Italian immigrants during a time of extreme xenophobia. As his name implies, the axe was his murder weapon of choice, often an axe found in the victim's own home.
Wait a sec, what is xenophobia? Never heard of that.
One of the most famous events in the Axeman's history was a letter, supposedly from the murderer himself, announcing a new attack, but also saying that he loved jazz music and would not attack any home where there was jazz music playing. That night, New Orleans dance halls filled up, all of them played dance music, and there was not a murder.
Well, at least the killer has good taste in music. Just saying. I've heard some pretty good jazz. But besides that,
that night, but nobody knows for sure if that was the Axeman or just an imposter. The Axeman killed 6 and wounded 12 others, but was never identified or caught. The murders stopped after October 1919, and only theories exist as to why.
Number 2.
Unlike most of these cases, there are literally dozens of people who know exactly who killed Ken Rex McElroy, but it's unlikely the case will ever go to trial. McElroy was a notorious bully and a criminal in the small Missouri town of Skidmore. The town knew him as a father of 15 children to almost as many different women, most of them teenagers. Oh, this dude, he a monster. He was also known as someone who committed multiple crimes, including child molestation, but somehow always managed to avoid serious jail time. So one day, one of the town's residents took matters into their own hands. McElroy was shot dead in his pickup truck in the middle of the day, in the middle of the town's main...
no offense, but if that guy was that much of a scumbag, I doubt anybody's gonna dig into his murder. Just saying, I wouldn't. Hats off. I'm just saying. I doubt anybody's ever going to look into that. If that guy was that much of a messed up scumbag, I doubt anybody's ever going to look into that murder. I mean, I wouldn't if I was a cop. But besides that, let's keep going. I mean, the guy was a literal scumbag.
Street in front of the whole town with his wife in the passenger seat. With 45 eyewitnesses to the crime, it should have been the easiest murder case to solve ever, but not a single one of those 45 people would talk to the county prosecutor.
I wouldn't come forward either.
Nobody would admit to seeing who it was that shot McElroy. The entire town ended up covering for the shooter, and that is a...
and most likely the shooter was a victim, or either someone who knew a victim of his. But besides that...
secret the town of Skidmore has kept for over 35 years.
Number 1.
This is perhaps the single most famous unsolved crime in history. Jack the Ripper became famous in the last 1800s for a series of particular...
yeah, I've heard of him before. I've also heard of H.H. Holmes, 2 big historical criminals.
really brutal murders in London's East End. His victims, 5 of them confirmed, were all presumed to be prostitutes whose throats were slit, but that wasn't the most brutal part. The women were also found to have their abdomens mutilated, often with organs removed. Because of this, Jack the Ripper was generally presumed to have some sort of surgical knowledge or training, but authorities never discovered who the killer was, much less his motives or what he was doing with those organs. There are now hundreds of theories about the killer's identity, as well as potential copycat murders that followed, but none of those theories are confirmed, and at this point, they probably never will be.
Check out the latest Dolan card update, Nixiumville. A new character, heaps of new skins, a new power-up, new level, daily missions, and offline mode. Download from the Android or iOS App Store and start racing today for free.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.
Well, I have to say, I did enjoy this video. It was honestly very well done and very well executed. But besides that, it just shows how easily murders can go unsolved. I'm just saying. But besides that, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. Be sure to check out Planet Dolan's channel. It's an excellent place to go to. Excellent stories, excellent top 10s, top 15s. Be sure to check him out. And his team. But besides that, also be sure to check out my channel, Moxie Reactions plus Gameplays. Also be sure to check out my BitChute channel. Link will be in the description. Also be sure to leave comments or any videos that so graciously recommend in the description down below. Thank you. Have a nice stupendous day, and I hope you all take care. But I'm just saying, that was just plain creepy. But besides that, without further ado, 1, 2, 3.